Welcome to Season 2 of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show, a podcast to support you in your spiritual awakening and personal development. As a spiritual teacher, healer, and intuitive coach, my intention is to empower you to live your ultimate potential and your ultimate life. As a former medical doctor and mystic, my role is to bridge the gap between science and spirituality to support you in understanding more of your multidimensional aspects. I share on a diverse range of topics, and it's all to support your greatest becoming. My mission is to continue reaching millions of people for the healing and awakening of humankind for the creation of the new earth. Thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. I am your host, Dr. Nikki Starr. Welcome. Today, we will be talking about embodiment and how it is key and supportive for living our ultimate lives. So let's begin with the definition of embodiment. Embodiment is how you are being in your body. It's different from your mind and your belief systems, though that does have an effect on your embodiment, which we'll talk more about. It's different from, and it's really a compilation of your energy, the frequency you're giving off, what your body is actually doing in any given point in time, what your body is feeling, and how your body is also feeling to others. Your embodiment is essentially what people read when you come into a room. It is actually what people are responding to. So it doesn't matter what you say, your embodiment is everything. It's not your actions, it's not your words, it's your beingness. So your embodiment is how you are being in every moment, right here, right now, present here and now. And that's why different people could do the same exact thing, but they have different effects based on each person's embodiment. Multiple people can say the exact same thing, but have a different impact based on their embodiment. So as I mentioned, it is a mixture of your mind and your belief systems, because what you think about yourself is given off in your cells. What you think about yourself, what you truly believe, is coming through your energy. It's coming through your embodiment. Your embodiment is when you show up, before you even say anything, it's the read. It's what you're putting out into the world. So that also includes your energy and your frequency. So depending on what your energy and your frequency is like, this is going to affect your embodiment, because your energy is what inhabits and gives life to your body. So if your energy is off, your embodiment is going to be not optimal, not in its ultimate potential. Other things connected to your embodiment is literally your posture, how your body is. Are you relaxed, or are your shoulders tense? Like, what is your body, your physical body, actually doing in every given moment? And studies have shown, and we see it all the time, where your body doesn't lie, your energy doesn't lie, your embodiment doesn't lie. So if you are postured in a certain way, like with your arms crossed, for example, that's going to be giving off a certain kind of signal as to what your embodiment is. And there's many things that affect embodiment. We're going to talk all about that in today's podcast. And the intention for today's podcast is really bringing self-awareness to you. It's bringing awareness on the topic of embodiment so you can have greater self-awareness about your embodiment. And I feel like embodiment is a newer leg to personal development and spirituality, because it's actually taking all the elements of the spiritual knowledge and the personal development work that you may read about and study, and it's living it in real time. When you are the embodiment, you are the codes, you are the energy, you are the teaching. So when you think of coaches or healers or anyone that you want to work with, as one of the main things you want to look at is, what is their embodiment? What are they like? When I look at them, Are they embodying, is in their body and life, the things that they are teaching and preaching, or what I want? Because when we are a certain embodiment, we can share that with others. We can catalyze others into that embodiment. And your embodiment comes first, and from that place, everything else follows. And it's not so much about what you're doing, it's about who you are being. So even when we think of success, your embodiment can be a key to your success. Sure, when you think of people who like work hard and make it happen, that's another way to reach success. But the more easeful, graceful success comes through your embodiment, where you become magnetic, where your being is like, but of course that's the result. And embodiment shows wisdom. Embodiment shows experience. So just like there is personal development for mindset work and personal development for emotional intelligence, a newer aspect of personal development I feel is embodiment work. And embodiment work is how we are running energy through the body. There's intentional ways to run energy through the body. I share them in my Ultimate Energy course. And there are certain types of meditation that can support your embodiment, which I share in my meditation courses. And so the way you are being in your body then creates a ripple out into the universe. Your embodiment, just like your energy, because your energy is a part of your embodiment, is what is sending out the signals that cause people to respond to you in a certain way. Your embodiment and your energy is the thing that attracts in and magnetizes in opportunities, situations, people, places, things, because of how you show up. Oftentimes, people in the spotlight have a very powerful embodiment. We think of actors, we think of athletes, and we even think of singers and people who are on stage, because so much of your presence, energy, embodiment is what is creating the effect that people want to watch you. So someone with a powerful embodiment, you're magnetic. People, you walk into a room, it's like, who's this person? What is it about them? This is embodiment work. It's why some people can get in front of a camera and the image looks a certain way, and other people are like, I'm not photogenic. Your embodiment is connected to how photogenic you are. And so are your beliefs. So the things that make up your embodiment are your mindset and your beliefs. Because if you believe that you are a rock star and you're amazing and incredible, that is going to be what you are exuding. But if you are saying affirmations like, I am confident, I am strong, I am powerful, but you don't really feel that, it's not going to translate into the effect and impact you have with your presence. That gets into feelings. How we feel also affects our embodiment. So if you wake up and you're feeling tired and you're feeling down all the time, you have the power to change how you feel through what you do throughout your day, what you expose yourself to. So absolutely what your exposure and your environments, what I mean by exposure is what you watch, what you eat, what you take in, who you surround yourself with, your environment, the places you find yourself, where you live, what city, what culture you're living in, if you're in alignment with what your soul is wanting. Oftentimes people don't feel well when they're in environments and in situations and in relationships that are not aligned with their highest potential and with their heart's truth. And only you have the power to change that. So you're absolutely affecting your embodiment by what you're exposing yourself to. Your emotions. So learning emotional intelligence helps your embodiment, because the more present and self-aware you become self-aware of your emotions when they rise. And emotions are simply energy and motion. So the more you can regulate your emotions, regardless of what is happening around you, and find that centered place, because the center of you is the truth of who you are. And the more you get knocked from your center, the less you're able to hold that powerful embodiment that you are here to be. Because your embodiment is your beingness. It's who you be. It's who you are in every moment. This is your embodiment. Your embodiment is also connected to how you are in your physical body. So what you do to your physical body. So if you're someone who's in touch with your physical body, like you dance or you exercise or you do some kind of sports, the body and the vessel of the body is meant to be moved. So it's in its highest potential when you're active with it. So part of being in your optimal embodiment is being in the best shape of your life, is also self-care, how you take care of your body and your being and your life. This is all part of your embodiment. Also connected to your embodiment, as I mentioned, is your energy. How you run energy in your body, how you take care of your energy. So if you are taking care of your energy by going into nature, by doing certain types of practice, both meditative and energy practices, that and in the bonus, we're going to go over some of these. Actually, I'm going to share with you about 7 things, like quick energy embodiment tips. And they're more embodiment tips because your embodiment is like how you're showing up in your body. So where is your consciousness? So for example, if you're always in your head, your energy is going to kind of live up here. And your highest embodiment is when your energy is fully in your body, because it's like you have all the energy to turn on all the cells and all of your being to shine your brightest, to radiate your essence. And that essence, that energy is magnetic, that attracts in your destiny. So you don't have to do and hustle so much. You know, we come from a culture, we all do if we're born in modern day, where praise is given to how busy you are, how much you can do. And even reaching success, people do at the expense of their health and how they feel. And then they end up burning out. And when you're burnt out, your embodiment is not at its highest peak. So we want to prevent burnout. We want to create an easeful, graceful life. And embodiment work is how you do it with so much more ease and grace. You don't have to do as much. You don't have to prove things. You don't have to hustle. It's like do less, receive more. Because unfortunately, a lot of people give their self-worth. It's really sad, but a lot of people give their self-worth to what they can do, not to who they are, your inherent beingness. And masculine embodiments, such as taking action and doing and being busy and like always going, is what for so long has been given clout, has been given awards. You know, people would get raises based on how many hours they spent and how many things they did. Whereas you could have another like intuitive gift where you don't have to work so much. And that's just your beingness and the gifts and the talents that you have, not based on how many things you can check off on your to-do list. And this is more of a feminine paradigm we're stepping into. Now, men and women both have masculine and feminine energies, and taking action is a masculine trait, which of course, taking action is required to create in our lives. But when we do it from a place of need, it's actually a lack energy. And when we do it from a place of hustle, it's also a lack energy. Whereas if you were just true to your embodiment and your being and the truth of who you are, you could do so much less and magnetize in so much more and feel really good at the same time. And then, of course, your reality becomes a reflection of your embodiment. So if you, and as you do your personal development work and you heal yourself and you collect soul parts, it's like pieces of you are coming back, your embodiment strengthens. And you can think of your embodiment as your power. And the strongest energy, the strongest embodiment in a room wins, because the more embodied you are, the more in your body, the more incarnated your energy is into your body, you seem grounded, solid. People trust you more. Even the resonance of your voice can drop when you're more in your body and when you're more embodied, because that's part of being embodied, is being in your body. And most people don't live in their bodies because they're so stuck in their head and their to-do list and everything they have to do, that the mind is going, and they're not actually feeling the right now moment, feeling their body. And when you come into greater embodiment, you also feel so much more pleasure in your body. And sometimes it takes healing, because there could be reasons why you've left your body. So anytime a trauma, a wound, a challenge has happened, sometimes for protection, you compartmentalize a piece of yourself to just deal and cope. And so the personal development journey, the spiritual journey, is that return to wholeness, which is reclaiming all these parts we might have shunned or pushed away or compartmentalized. And the more all of our pieces come back online, this supports our embodiment too. So your healing is a big part of your embodiment. And a big part of healing is coming into acceptance and unconditional love of all of you. Because when you are embodying that, people can feel that. And then you just radiate that love, that acceptance, where people feel really good being around you. And then this makes you a powerful embodiment that people want to invite you to speak, do things, go here, go there, collaborate, create together. And then you're here sharing your gifts with the world even more fully. And that's our goal. We all have gifts to share. We're all born for a reason. We're all here on purpose. Like, you are an important piece of humanity. And the more we hone in on your embodiment and have you feeling really good, confidence, in love with yourself, the more of an impact you can make on the planet, because we're clearing and healing shame. We're clearing and healing any parts of us that think we have to do something to be loved. And it's not what you do that makes you lovable. It's who you are. And you are lovable exactly as you are. And so I love embodiment work so much. And I started doing embodiment work, I would say, in 2000, I want to say like 15. Is when I really started learning energetics and how to be more in my body, and that we could play with it, kind of like Jedi techniques, like little ninja moves. And I started becoming more self-aware. And so the journey to embodiment work was meditation to begin, and was yoga. Because through yoga, I started to be more in my body, and then it evolved through dance. And then I started to understand energetics. And then through the portal of polarity work, which is masculine and feminine energetics and embodiments, I started to understand how, like, we can be the creators of every moment in life based on how we show up. Because humans are polarizable beings. So if I show up with a certain embodiment, people are going to respond to me based on how I show up. We are that powerful to co-create every moment. And the strongest energy wins. So the more intentional you are, the more you can affect your environment around you. So for example, we can look at archetypes as a form of embodiment. So when I say archetypes, think of the king, the queen, the healer, the boss. It's like these characters. So embodiment work is also about understanding the many facets of who you are. You're not just one person. So for me, a lot of my strong archetypes is my queen archetype. I was a queen in many past lives. I'm going to share more on this because I have a new offer called Queen Codes that starts this week. The healer archetype was a healer in many lives, embody that in this life. The priestess archetypes, that ritual essence of mine connected to my spirituality, has very much been a part of this life and many lives before. The boss, me being an entrepreneur, even becoming a medical doctor, there's a certain type of embodiment you must be to go through all that rigorous training. And so there's certain embodiments we take on and that serve in some environments, but not in others. And so through polarity work, I started to because I spent so many hours working as an entrepreneur, because I love my work. I love creating courses. I love working with clients. I love podcasting. I love being in the spotlight, sharing my gifts, speaking for the healing and awakening of humankind. It's why I'm on the planet. But I realized that that energy of that boss energy can cause romantic relationships to suffer, because then you have two bosses in the space. And as a feminine woman in my relationship, of course, for me and for many feminine beings, we want to be able to surrender and relax and have our man lead. And so through workshops of embodiment work, I started to understand where like a really powerful embodiment for someone who's very responsible, always on top of it, I realized was a bimbo energy. And it's funny because in my journey to the beloved course, I talk about this deeper, where it was really powerful to see how when I would just lose my mind, not try to plan, boss, dictate, control things, and really just be like this free, laid back, what we maybe like to call a bimbo, because I also have high intelligence. But when I just turn that part off, I could so much better connect intimately and even in the more sensual space, because I wasn't trying to think about things. I was just in the moment, in my body. And so this is just a funny example of how we can look at embodiment work and the many ways that it works. And so, as I mentioned, I was going to go deeper into the queen energy. So I also look at Vedic astrology. I really love Vedic astrology. I think that it is the true astrology. I maybe have mentioned this before in the podcast, because when you take the star app and you put it to the sky, it tells you exactly where the positions of the planets are on the given date and time. So it actually differs from Western astrology. And one of the things they look at in Vedic astrology is they look at your cycles. And I'm currently in my moon cycle, which is for a decade. So from 2015 to 2025. So it's interesting. I said I started embodiment work in 2015, and that came with me stepping more into my power and knowing that I am the creator of my reality in all of my relationships and situations. And so by choosing to be more empowered and be more self-aware and really choose how I show up, I can have whatever experience I desire. And so now I have about 17, 16 months left of my moon. And my moon sits in a star called Magga. And Magga is the royal star. And the symbology is the throne. So essentially, this is the decade that I learned to sit on my throne. And very fascinatingly, at the end of the 40 Days of Kali program, I received the download to create a program called Queen Codes, which is all around the embodiment of a woman stepping into her queendom. And we know the embodiment of a queen has many different facets to it. And essentially, it's how you be and how you show up. How you be and how you show up affects so much of your life and how people respond to you, and how your embodiment then affects the reality that you live. So one example for me in my time of stepping into my queendom is around for a decade basically, or even I was still traveling after that, but there were many years that I was traveling. And so I started my sitting on my throne in 2015. And in 2018, I got a very strong hit, nudge, intuition, feeling, wanting, desire that I was like, I am ready for my home. Because I had been traveling the world and I loved it, but I was ready to really settle down. And I really was like, but I also, and I did that, but then I was like, no, I want the standard that I want. So it was really stepping into that embodiment of my queen, which is, what is my highest excitement? Like, what is it that I really want? What's the standard that I choose and hold to? And so then it was like, okay, well, it's Malibu, it's beachfront, it's oceanfront. And since then, even moving to Ibiza, I still found a sea view home, beautifully perched up in the mountain with the sea view. It was all of my standard, modern, beautiful homes that is really just a reflection of my embodiment, the truth of who I am. And then my frequency manifests all the things that I desire. But it's not a desire from this egotistical place. It's just, and so it is. This is the standard, the embodiment, the frequency, the energy that I am putting out into the world. And so the universe, the quantum, responds to this frequency. And so often we don't even realize where we're giving our power away, where we are lacking in our embodiment because we're just not self-aware, or we make unconscious choices. And so that process of becoming even more self-aware is part of our personal development path. But then when you consciously choose how you're going to show up, such as, for example, you have a meeting to go to, and it's to pitch your idea or whatever, you can show up with a certain embodiment that will support you in being even more successful than if you just walked in and didn't even think about what your embodiment was like. So it allows you to be a more powerful co-creator and creator of your reality when you're paying attention to your embodiment, how you're being in your body, how you feel in your body, and knowing that you can shift that in any moment of time. And the moment you shift how you feel, you are then giving off a completely different energy, a completely different embodiment. And so if you want to go deeper into this work, my meditation course goes deeper into it. The energy course goes deeper into it. And the deepest of all is for women who want to go on this 3-month journey of Queen Codes. And this is kind of like the 2.0 version of my Ultimate Woman course, which some of you may have gone through. And I still have those recordings available, but my embodiment is so different. I created the Ultimate Woman in 2019. And if you look at the way I show up and speak there, now it was beautiful, it was bubbly, it was a different energy. But part of that embodiment is coming more fully into your body. So I feel like we descend through the chakras, through the energy centers, and even the resonance of our voice can become deeper the more embodied we become. And now how I show up on camera is completely different. It's more grounded, it's more present, it's more embodied. And so much more can be said with my energy than it needs to be said with my words. So oftentimes people will define themselves by what they do, whereas your embodiment is defined by who you are. And when I work with clients, everyone has a different goal in embodiment. It's not that everyone is here to be the queen, or everyone is here to be the healer, or everyone is here to be, you can be though, if you choose it, it's whatever you want. But even in embodiment work, I've had clients create goals of like, I want to feel sexy. I want to feel confident in my body. I want to feel free. I want to feel more peace and harmony in my body. I want to have more of a regulated nervous system. So you can actually decide, like, how do I want to feel in my body every day, and show up from that place and receive the teachings and the techniques and the protocols that support you for whatever embodiment you're wanting to create. But what's true regardless is our centeredness. When you are centered in your being, you are most connected to your true frequency. Because when you are centered, you're not affected by others around you as much. You're less likely to take on energies and ideas and ways of being that you see around you and just embody your truth. The same is true for grounded. That's a goal we all want to have, is to be grounded in our bodies, because the more grounded you are, the more powerful and potent your energy and your creation power is. Like, you think of a tree. A tree grounds deep so it can really grow tall. So some of the energy practices are synonymous with the embodiment practices because, as I mentioned, your energy is a part of your embodiment, and it's specifically of how your energy is incarnated into your body. And we're really here to be having this human experience right here, right now. So the more grounded in your body you become, the more of a potent, ultimate life experience you have on earth right now at this time. If you're, some people think like, oh, it's so spiritual for me to like leave my body and go have these experiences outside of my body, which psychedelics, for example, promotes that. You go outside of yourself. And then people are living dissociated, and your power goes down, and you're less likely it's harder to create things. I've met many people who have worked with psychedelics in the past and then say they stop because they realize they want to be present in their body right here, right now. So what I will say is any practices that take you out of your body do not support embodiment work. The practices that put you in your body to feel, to be present here and now, support embodiment work. So moving your body, meditation and energy practices that bring you in the body. And then there's, like I mentioned, the Jedi tricks that I'm going to share with you in the bonus, that these little things you can do literally shift how other people relate to you in the real time moment. It's like magic. And it's really powerful to watch. You can even do it like an experiment. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like I just shifted where I was being in my body. And now my partner responds to me different. I'm just shifting this right now. And now this connection at this meal is like even better. Because we want to create the best experience possible. And your embodiment is a big part of that. So for you ladies who are interested in going deeper into this, specifically to activate more of your queen code so that life can happen with more magnetism, ease, and grace, and your energy and frequency can speak for itself and bring in the opportunities for you, I really invite you into queen codes. And if you're watching or listening to this in the month of September, October, November of 2023, that's when the live version is happening. And if you're listening at a later date, you can always reach out to see what offerings are available or if I made that evergreen. Or also the recordings of the Ultimate Woman from the past. We go into some embodiment work as well there. And I feel that if you are passionate about having the most epic relationships, embodiment work is really important for that, especially romantic relationships, both for men and women, because men can also affect how you're embodied in your body, how you're being in your body, which then affects how your woman shows up and responds to you, but also in the workplace. Your embodiment is even with your children, even with anyone, any relationships, anything, even situations, even before you're going to go into the customer service and have a conversation about something that happened. If you get into the right embodiment, then you will have the outcome that you intend for, that you desire, because you're supporting that process. And so we want to be intentional about every aspect of your life. So this podcast specifically is to support you in creating self-awareness around how you're being. Just take time. I'm going to go, like I said, deeper into this in the bonus content, but just take time to just notice, like, how am I being in my body right now? Like, where's my consciousness? Where am I sitting in my body? Like, and you can on your own see how you can shift things. But if you want to open up a portal to that, that's a whole other avenue that you can go through in your personal development work. And the difference too between, you can know something in a book, but to be it is a completely different thing. You become the codes. You become the teaching. You become it. And that's what happened for me with yoga and meditation. First, I learned the positions, but then I became it, and then I was able to teach it. And I feel that whenever you actually become the embodiment of something, you will shift the teaching to relate to your experience with it. So the embodiment is the wisdom. When you embody something, you are it, you are the wisdom, you are the codes, and then you become the portal to help catalyze and transform other people who wish to embody that as well. And so it's not about how much you can memorize from a book, it's about your embodiment. Are you actually that? I am that is embodiment. Not I know that, not I want that, I desire that, it's I am that. That is embodiment work. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I'll see you inside the bonus content. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. Please like this podcast and share it with anyone you feel would benefit. Subscribe to the podcast to receive bonus content, and remember, every Monday the video version goes live on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being on the ascension path with me and for doing this great work. Sending love until next time.